Migaku is a batch mining program that automates the process of taking unknown words and putting them into Anki so you can review them and never forget them. While there are free alternatives like Yomitan, linked up here, Yomitan only gives you the ability to create cards one at a time. Migaku is the pioneer of batch card creation, which, in my experience, has been incredibly helpful in speeding up the mining process and helping me understand the content that I really want to watch.
Jouzu.
First of all, you can get Migaku using this link on screen, which will give you your second month off for free, as well as 20% off the yearly plan. If you sign up for a monthly subscription right now, you also have a chance of winning a lifetime plan completely for free. This giveaway ends on June 18th, 2026, but even after the giveaway ends, the discounts still apply. Once you've purchased an account, we'll install Migaku on both the browser and Anki. You can find the links in the description, just click this button to install it onto your browser. Then on Anki, press Command-Shift-A or Control-Shift-A, and you get this window. Click on Get Add-ons on the top right. Then copy this code from the description and paste it in here. The installation may take a while, like up to 10 minutes, so just come back to this video when the installation is complete. Once the installation is complete, let's start with Chrome. On the top URL bar, click the little puzzle icon and find Migaku, then press the pin button so that the Migaku head icon always stays. Now, once you click on this head icon, it'll likely ask you to sign in, so just follow the instructions and sign in. Once you log in, it might also ask you what languages you want to learn and what dictionaries you want to install, so just choose the language you want to learn. For our case, it's Japanese. And for the dictionaries, the only ones we care about is JM-Dict English, but you can also take JMNE-Dict if you want. I will show you how to manually install other dictionaries later. For the frequency list, you can choose what you want. I've chosen Slice of Life and YouTube because that's what I mainly watch. But of course, if you watch a lot of Netflix, for example, just choose the Netflix one as well. Don't worry if you misclick one here, we can edit all of these later. Okay, once you follow through the instructions, you should be at a screen that looks something like this. First, go to the Dictionary tab over here. Then on the card creator on the right side, click on the settings icon. These are all of the autofill settings that you can toggle, and this is what I have it set to. The most important setting is at the bottom. Set Send Card to Anki. Click off and we're good to proceed. Next, let's install our custom dictionaries. In the description, you will find a link to this folder containing a bunch of dictionaries. You don't need the first one because we already have it, but you may be interested in number 2 Shinmeikai Kokugo Jiten and number 9 Kojien. These two are pretty high-ranking Japanese to Japanese dictionaries so that you can get Japanese definitions. One more thing you may want is the Yoga Nihongo Accento Jiten number 6, as this contains pitch accent information. Once you find the ones you like, just right-click these and then press Download. Back to Migaku, press the Settings button, and under Dictionaries, press Install from File. Navigate to the folder where you downloaded your dictionaries, choose the dictionaries that you downloaded earlier, press OK, and they'll install. Next, I like to scroll down a bit to the frequency list and toggle this option here to the numerical value instead. Okay, now here comes the most important step. We want to import our known words from Anki into Migaku. For that, we need to make sure that Anki is set up first. So by now, the Migaku add-on should be done installing. And so if you haven't restarted your Anki, restart it now. Once you restart Anki, you'll get this box from Migaku, and you can basically press OK all the way through, but keep an eye out for this green text on the bottom that says Browser Extension Connected. If this is red or it says Not Connected, make sure your browser is open and the extension is installed. If you're stuck, go ask on the Migaku Discord server. Assuming everything is working, just keep pressing OK until the setup is complete. Okay, now head back to Migaku and press this button called Memory on the left side. This will bring you to a page called Migaku Memory. And on the bottom right here, you'll find this plus course button. Click on this and select Import Anki Deck. Give it the permission. Everything should say it's good to go, so just press Continue. Now let's choose the deck or decks that we actually study from, then press Continue. Next, it's going to show you something about converting stuff into Migaku card types. We don't really care about this because we're not using Migaku memory, and we're just using this step to import the cards into Migaku itself. So just skip these next two pages. And now it's super important that you figure out what type of cards you're using in Anki. There are vocab cards that test one word, and sentence cards that test a whole sentence. Each one has a reading front side and a listening front side. In Migaku, we only want to import vocab cards. So this first card type is a sentence reading card, which means we want to ignore it. So scroll down and make sure everything says do not import. then press next. It's gonna say, are you sure you don't want to import this? We say don't import. The next card type is also a sentence card, so we do the same thing and ignore it. Next, we get a vocab card. This is a vocab reading card. So we want to change this from sentence card to word card. And the most important thing here is that we import the word itself and not anything else. For my card type, the word is stored in the expression field. So under expression, we want to choose target word. Leaving this checked is perfectly fine. And then we ignore everything else and press next. The next type of card is vocab listening, but we don't need this because we've already imported vocab reading, which is the same. So we can just ignore this. Next, I've got this weird grammar card, but this isn't a word, so if you've got non-single word cards, just ignore them. Next, you'll be brought to the screen, just press continue. From here, it is very important that you just stay here and don't move. If you click off of this window or do anything else, there's a high chance that Migaku will just break. Just go on your phone or something and don't touch anything at all. Seriously. Once the words are imported, we want to do a manual sync to try to prevent glitches. From this page, click the top left button and press sync repair. If there is a syncing issue, it will ask you to choose between the left one or the right one. Simply choose the option with more words. Go back to the extension window and on the left, click on the word browser. Then on here, click this arrow on the top left to resync it. If you're still having syncing issues, just restart your Chrome. Okay, now that Migaku is connected to Anki, we have to set up the Anki side to be able to accept Migaku cards. What we want to do is press the Add New Card button, which will pop up the card creator, and we want to choose the correct note type and deck. The note type you choose here will determine whether Migaku creates vocab cards or sentence cards. Let's start with vocab cards. So first, click on this Field Maps button, and from here, we'll be able to designate what fields are set by Migaku. Pause right here to copy all of these settings over. All you have to do to change these is click the drop down, then choose the correct option. Your card format may be different to mine, so use your brain to figure out what maps to where. If you want my exact card type, you can get it early access by supporting me on Patreon, or wait for me to release it for free once I'm finished with a new beginner deck. Once you've done this for the vocab card, let's switch over to the sentence cards as well, then press Field Maps again, and copy the same things over here. With this done, your Anki settings are complete and you are ready to mine. With all of the setup done, we can now start finally using Migaku, but be warned, the first few hours with Migaku are mostly spent teaching it about you. You almost certainly know more words than you have in Anki, so you'll need to mark a lot of basic vocab as known before Migaku can really start helping you. Now, first, let's load up a video into Migaku. There are two ways we can do this. We can either find a video online, like on YouTube or Netflix, or we can load up our own video. I'll show you how to do both. So first of all, on YouTube, just find a random Japanese video. If you can't be bothered to find one, I'll link this one on screen in the description. Bro's just getting free views from me at this point. And so once you're here, click the head icon and choose Enable Full Migaku Power on this website. While we're here, we also want to do Allow Image and Audio Capture for this session, and this will enable Migaku for this video. Next, click on this purple tab on the top right, and press the lock icon to keep the toolbar on the top. Next, press this button to open the subtitle browser. On YouTube, videos tend to generate with auto subtitles, however, YouTube auto-generated subtitles are kind of poo-poo. So instead, we can ask Migaku to generate subtitles for us. I'm gonna go up here and click this icon and press Generate Subtitles, and just give it a bit. Once the subtitles are generated, it will refresh for a second and you'll be good to go. Honestly though, for your first time, I would recommend using an anime, just because you have proper subtitles that don't have typos in it. And in order to load up your own video file, click the Migaku head icon and find the video player down over here. Click this, and it'll bring you to the Migaku video player. From here, we want to have two things ready. We want to have the actual anime itself, as well as the subtitle file. Obviously, I can't tell you where to find anime by yourself. I've done that before and YouTube really didn't like that. But I can tell you that everyone gets subtitles off of this website called jimaku.cc. Just go here, search the anime you want, and the subtitles are probably here. If not, too bad. Okay, so take the anime that you want to mine from, click it and drag it in, and then let's do the same for the subtitles. Double check that the subtitles do properly line up with what's being said. If not, watch this video on the top right. Don't worry, it's pretty easy to fix. Okay, so now that we have a video ready, whether it's your own video or on YouTube, the first thing I want to bring your attention to is up here. This gives you a rough estimation of how much you should be able to comprehend based on your known words. However, it won't be accurate at first because Migaku doesn't yet know which words you know. but it is worth tracking over time as you can see your own progress. Now, you see with my subtitles that mine are very colorful. These colors represent the pitch accent. You can turn this on by going onto this eye icon and copying these settings. You can also hover over this eye to learn more about the pitch colors that Migaku uses. But personally, I don't really care about the pitch in the sentence itself. Like, I'm not looking at a word going like, oh, that's atamadaka. I just turn on the colors because it makes word boundaries pop out more clearly. Next, you'll notice that a lot of your words are underlined red or highlighted. These are words Migaku thinks you don't know yet. Underlined words are just unknown, while highlighted words are recommended to learn. Now, so far we've only imported our Anki database, so any words that you actually know that aren't in your Anki will be treated as unknown. Our job now is to teach Migaku what words we actually know, and the fast way to do that is click this little filter icon on the bottom right, then filter by 1+ unknown words. Migaku will select every single subtitle that has at least one unknown word. For me, it's just 18 because I've been doing this for quite a while. For you, it could be 200, 300, who knows. From here, we want to scroll down and look for words that we actually do know. For example, this word here, senkyo. I actually know this word, and so I want to tell Migaku, hey, I know this. And before I mark it off, I want you to pay attention to how senkyo actually appears twice. It appears here at 7 minutes 34 and also appears at 20 minutes 52. The second I mark this off and tell Migaku I know this word, it will go through all the subtitles and update every single time this word appears so that it won't show up again. So to mark this off, we mouse over the word and we press 3 on the keyboard. This will tell Migaku that we know the word. Once it updates, it will vanish. And as you can see, the known word count has gone up. And we want to do this for every single word that we actually know in the subtitle file. One more thing you can do to double check these sentences is when you hover over a word, you can press Shift to pop up the pop-up dictionary. Here you can see the meaning of the word. You can press this button to hear the audio. You can press this button to see some images. And there are some other AI tools here that I don't really use. Here are a few edge cases you might run into and how to fix them. For proper Japanese names, you've got 3 options. Leave them red and mine them into Anki to learn the kanji reading, press 3 to mark them as known, or press 4 to ignore them entirely. Personally, I don't treat names as words, so I press 4. This way, Migaku won't count it as a word and also won't suggest it for mining. In the situation where you have an error, for example, this is someone's name, this should be Aizawa, but Migaku is detecting it as 2 different words. Again, you can just ignore it by pressing 4. If it is not a name, but is still a parsing error, for example, here, these 3 are supposed to be together, dousoukai, not dousouatte, which is what Migaku thinks it is. Flag it with this bookmark here and we'll return to this later. If it is a made-up word, like a fantasy character name or location, basically a long string of katakana, for me, I treat this the same as names and just press 4 to ignore them. Okay, skipping forward a bit, I've marked every word I know, which means the remaining words are ones I don't know and would like to learn. Now, before we just go and press create card, we want to make sure we only select cards with 1 unknown word. This is because of the I+1 principle proposed by the linguist Dr. Stephen Krashen. So we want to click this filter icon and change the filtering from 1 unknown word to unique 1 unknown. This will filter out the subtitles to only select sentences with 1 unknown word that is not a duplicate. From here, make sure you read through every single card first. We want to make sure there are no errors and that the cards that we're selecting are actually cards we want to learn. If for whatever reason you don't want to learn, say, this word, you can just click it, and as long as it's not highlighted, it will not be created. If there's any weirdness in the subtitles, like a typo or the sentence breaking off in a strange place, just flag it with the bookmark icon and we'll handle them later. For me, I see absolutely no errors here, so make sure allow image and audio capture is on. Then, the last critical check. You must do this before pressing create card. Go to your Anki and press the add new button, and make sure that the note type and deck is set correctly. Otherwise, you create garbage cards in the wrong deck and have to clean them up manually. If this is all correct, go back to your Migaku and press create card. From here, you have to let Migaku record these lines, so just sit tight and let it do its thing. Once this is done, you can go back to your Anki, go to the browser, and then scroll to the bottom of your new cards to check that it has successfully added. Alright, well what if you want to create a sentence card? Well, Migaku can help you do that too. Sentence cards can come in handy when you know every single word in a sentence, but still don't really understand the sentence fully, or you just want to mind that way of saying a certain thing. So let's say for example that I want to get this sentence here. I know every single word, so just pressing create won't really do anything. Instead, the first thing we want to do is open up Anki and press the add new card button. And from here, we want to change the note type into the sentence card type. The setting that we choose here controls what type of card Migaku makes. So once we have this set as sentence, we can go here and simply press create to send the card straight to Anki. Okay, but what if a sentence has multiple unknown words? The short answer is to try to avoid it, because if it's a common word, it will likely show up by itself somewhere else. For example, this sentence here has 2 unknown words, but the second word appears by itself 1 line above. If I learn that sentence first, then the line in question then becomes an I+1 sentence. Now, that's not always the case, especially if you're a high-level learner, you can kind of get a feel of when to break the rules. So for example, if this doesn't show up anywhere and you want both of these words, what you can do is press shift over one of these words, then press the create card button over here, and this will send the card to Anki with just this word as the unknown word. And then once that's done, you come back to Migaku and then shift over the other word and then create card over here. What you don't want to do is just click on the whole card with 2 unknown words and then press create card here. Migaku won't know what to do and it's gonna smush these 2 unknown words together. Okay, so how do we deal with typos or parsing errors? Like I mentioned earlier, this right here is a typo. It's supposed to be dousou kaite, not dousou atte, which is what Migaku thinks it is. For this, it's very simple. What we want to do is just highlight the part that we want to add, so here, dousou kai, and then press shift while this is highlighted. And you can see that it is correctly detecting dousou kai as a word now. From here, we can just press the create card button, and this will create a card just like that. Now, let's say there's an actual typo, as in the kanji is wrong or the word is wrong. Let's say, for example, we want to learn the word dousou kai over here, but this is a typo. What we can do is highlight dousou kai, and instead of pressing the create button, we're going to press send to card creator, the orange button. Now if you open the Migaku extension window, you have a chance to edit the card before sending it to Anki. Then once we're satisfied with it, we can press create card and it'll pipe it through. Now that these cards are in your Anki, you are free to do whatever you want with them. For me, what I like to do to clean up my cards is I don't like this messy definition, so I just copy the main definition that I want. So for me, it's this one. I'll copy this, get rid of everything else, paste it. In the reading section, I want to generate the pitch graph, so I just press the pitch add-on. I've talked about all these add-ons that I used in this video linked up here. Then I add the pitch accent number, which will automatically color the card by the correct pitch color. This is a feature of my card type, so you may not have this. And then if I wanted to add sentence furigana, all I have to do is click on the sentence field and click off it, and it auto-generates. Once again, this is another add-on that I have. And if I wanted it in English, then I can go onto DeepL, or I can translate it myself, or I can even go to Migaku settings and turn on the auto-translations in the first place. At my level, I don't really care about the English, so I just leave it blank. Now, your card format may not be the same as mine, so I'll remind you again. I will release my card format for free when I'm done with the beginner deck, but until that time, you can get early access to it via my Patreon. It doesn't matter if you don't have this card format, just use your brain a little bit and figure out how to do it for your own card format. Okay, now here's an important step that we have to do to complete the loop. Because we'll eventually review these cards, we can now go back into Migaku and then treat all of these words as known. So mouse over the words that we just mined and press 3, and the goal of this is, because earlier we skipped sentences with more than one unknown word, now that a bunch of new words have just become known, a lot of those sentences will now become eligible as I+1. So clear the filter and choose unique one unknown again, and you should see new sentences. That is the mining loop with Migaku. And so you can repeat this loop until this episode runs dry, and then move on to the next episode and do the same process again, and so on and so forth, until you finish up the whole season. And then once you've done that, wrap back up to the first episode again and repeat until you literally have nothing else to learn from this show. One thing that the old version of Migaku was able to do that the new version cannot do is batch mine from text page websites. We can still use Migaku on text websites, but we cannot batch export. To do this, press the Migaku head icon, then enable full power on this website, make sure the extension window is open, and Migaku will go and scan this whole website for you. If you have Yomitan enabled, it is a good idea to disable Yomitan while Migaku is running, so click on the Yomitan icon and switch that off. And from now, you can just press shift over any unknown word and it'll pop up the pop-up dictionary. This purple button will immediately create a card and send it into Anki. The benefit of using Migaku over Yomitan is that Migaku will automatically create sentence audio where Yomitan cannot. That is literally the only advantage that Migaku has at the moment, which is why for me, when it comes to web pages, I still tend to use Yomitan more. Now that Migaku is set up, watch this video next to make Japanese content find you by creating a Japanese YouTube account. それではまた今度。